Hi, my name's Kris. Welcome to my studio. I'm so excited. Look what just arrived in the mail. Mijello Mission Gold Class Watercolors. This is their pure pigment set with 17 pigments. I'm about to unbox it and show you what's inside. Let's get started. I can't even tell you how excited I am. I just received in the mail my Mijello Mission Gold Class Watercolor Set, Pure Pigment Set of 17 colors. Let's take a closer look. You can see the packaging here. It's a really nice box it comes in. Again, it's by Mijello, Pure Pigment. We'll talk a little bit in a minute what that means. The product number, if you wanted to make sure you were buying the exact same product, you want to make sure you're looking for MWC-1517P. That's Mijello Watercolor. And then 15 stands for 15 milliliter size tubes. And the 17 stands for the number of colors in the set. P stands for pure pigment. So if you really want to make sure you're getting a pure pigment set from Mijello, make sure it has the P on the end of the product number on the product, wherever you're buying it from. Let's go ahead and take a look at what they say here on the packaging. Okay, taking a look a little closer at the description on the box. The pure pigment set includes 17 single pigment colors. So that's what they mean by pure pigment. That means that each paint is made up of a single pigment. Again, we'll talk more about that in a minute when we look at the color chart. Okay, let's go ahead and open up the box. Next, we see a brochure that includes a description of their 5 keywords and a color chart. This color chart, of course, is very important for understanding exactly what you are getting with this pure pigment watercolor set. Let's take a look at some of the colors listed here on the color chart. We can see here, for example, we have our lemon yellow. And below that, we have a number that starts with W. That's a Mission Gold number. It's a product number. I don't tend to pay much attention to that number. Then we have the color name. This would be a common name. Now, the thing with the common names is they're not the same in all brands of paint. For example, this might be called lemon yellow by Mijello, but it might be called something else. What's really important, and I'm going to highlight it here in yellow, what's really important for any color chart with any brand of paint is this pigment number. Always starts with a P, and then it has a second letter that represents the value or the hue. So this would be pigment yellow, PY, Y for yellow, PY3. So this is a very specific pigment. And so PY3, this number, is going to be the same no matter what brand of paint you purchase, whether you get Daniel Smith or M. Graham or Mijello or whatever other types of paint manufacturers are going to use a common numbering system for their pigments that they use to make the paints. One thing I like about the Mijello here is it actually gives the actual substance name here. Now I chose one that I can't even say. Monoazo is the actual substance, the pigment name that's being used, that is also goes by PY3. Okay, and let's move over to the Quinacridone. They call it Quinacridone Cherry Red, right? But that particular color is the pigment PR, Pigment Red 209, which is also known as Quinacridone. You're going to see Quinacridone in a lot of different watercolor paints. PR 209 is the pigment number. And so you can look through here and see all the different pigment numbers and the names that Mijello uses, and little swatches of what the colors look like. Of course, it's important and recommended that you swatch out your own colors when you first get a set of watercolor pigments, so you can really see what those colors look like on your watercolor paper. And so you can see the nice collection of colors in Mijello Mission Gold Class Pure Pigment Set. Now again, this is all 50 colors. The set that I purchased and that I'm unboxing today is a 17 color set. So just 17 of these. You'll want to look for my other video on this channel where I actually swatch those colors out. One other thing I want to talk about quickly is there is additional information here down at the bottom of the color chart. We have the price series, or just the series that each color is in. It's in a price group from A to H. A is the lower price group and H is the highest price group. So any tube you get, we'll look at those in a minute, you'll see a letter from A to H representing the group, the price group it is in. Next we have light fastness. The more stars, the better. 5 is the highest rating, and that is an extremely light fast pigment, down to a 1 star, which is less light fast. This particular brand of paint or pigments claims that all of their colors in this series are a very high light fastness. We'll take a look at that in a minute. Transparency is another thing that most artists are really concerned about when they choose their pigments or their paints for watercolor. I like transparent colors, but there's also semi-transparent, semi-opaque, and opaque, and that's going to be represented by one of these 4 symbols that you see there. Next we have staining, which is a little triangle symbol, and it goes from non-staining with an empty triangle up to semi-staining and then staining. And also there's another feature of watercolor paints, and that's whether or not it's granulating. Some brands of watercolor paint will also rate paints on whether they are granulating or not. I know Daniel Smith does that. I don't see that rating on this particular brand of paint, Mijello, so they haven't done that. So you're just going to have to maybe test out the colors for yourself and see if they're granulating or not. All right, here's our box that these paints come in. Okay, let's take a look at each of the colors or pigments in this set, starting from the left with our yellows. First we have, is it Quinophthalone Yellow Light, which is PY138. Again, each of these colors is going to have a single pigment in it only. Our next yellow is Permanent Yellow Deep, PY65. Next we have Autumn Orange, that is PO36. Next we have Red Orange, which is PO73. Next, Permanent Red Deep, PR254. Rose Madder, PR176. Quinacridone Violet, PV19. The V stands for violet. Dioxazine Violet, PV23. Cerulean Blue, which is PB153. Next one we have Phthalo Blue, which is PB15:6. So similar to the Cerulean Blue, PB15, but a slightly different version. Next we have Ultramarine Light, also known as Ultramarine Blue in most brands, PB29. The Viridian, which is PG7, also known as Phthalo Green in a lot of brands. Again, not every brand uses the same common name. It's most important that you know the pigment number. Next we have Bamboo Green, which is PG36. Green Gold, which is PY150. Next we have Yellow Ochre number 2, which is PY42. Now we have some of our earth tones. We have Burnt Sienna number 2, which is PR102. And finally Van Dyke Brown, which is PBR7. So overall, the packaging that this comes in is really nice. You've got a heavy-duty plastic tray that all of these tubes fit in, and you could easily store those tubes in there without a problem. One thing I've noticed is that in the advertisement it said that this comes with a water brush. Would be a brush that you can put water in and paint with. I don't see that anywhere in here. I thought maybe it was hidden in this little area up in here, but no. There's nothing in there. And so I don't see this little brush that they said was going to be in there. That's a little strange, but oh well. I don't really like using those water brushes anyways. Okay, you flip the box over and you see another smaller version of the color chart that is on the back of the box. That's really handy as well. So you might be wondering, why did I buy this set? There were a number of reasons. First of all, honestly, is price. I was able to buy these 17 15 milliliter tubes for $89 US on Amazon. Now that, I think I figured that out. Let's see, how much is that per tube? So that is a little bit over $5 per tube for one of these 15 milliliter tubes of paint. Now, when I purchase Daniel Smith colors, I can purchase 15 milliliters and it can cost me anywhere from $10 to $15 per tube. So $5 per tube is quite a significant savings. So when they package these in a set like this, they give you the paints at a significant discount. And so that is one of the reasons why I wanted to do this. I also wanted to try out the pure pigments. Many of the colors that I've tried in Mijello Mission Gold previously were mixed colors, convenience colors they call them, where they have mixed several pigments together to make a different color. And I wanted to try the pure pigment. Mijello is known for the fact that they don't use a lot of thickening agents. They have very high quality pigments, excellent light fastness, and color uniformity. Now, the reason for that uniformity in color, I would suggest, is because they are single pigment or pure pigment colors. They're only using one pigment in there, so it's much easier for them to get the exact same color every time they create paint from these pigments, because they're using a single pigment. So there you go. There's the unboxing of my Mijello Mission Gold Class watercolor set of pure pigment paints, 17 15 milliliter tubes. And look for my other videos where I'm going to swatch these paints out and test them. I'm also planning to do some videos comparing these watercolor paints up against some of my other paints by Daniel Smith, M. Graham, and others, and kind of compare the pigments, the paints to other brands and see how they hold up. Thanks for watching. Hope this was helpful. If so, please subscribe to my channel and maybe like the video so that others can find it. And have a great day.